Hello and welcome. My name is Registus, and today we're going to be playing some Factorio. We're always playing some Factorio at the moment. Welcome, Senna. No volcanoes enemies. Oh my god, indeed. That was what I was fully expecting, and I was a bit disappointed, if I'm totally honest. So the freight effects we did get for those watching on VOD and catching up was 426, which was the resource search and assembly GUI improvements. As I kind of said in the stream yesterday, I don't know if I gave the right impression about. I am excited for these changes. These are nice quality of life things, but as you literally just said, Senna, I was expecting volcanoes enemies. I mean, I'm sure they'll come up like next week or something. I don't think it's going to be long. Not least of all as we've only got 7 Friday facts left, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna tell us what those are, even if they don't, reveal absolutely everything. So yeah, so as I say, I was possibly a little maybe came across as unimpressed, as it were, on the actual video. But yeah, these are great changes. I was not expecting a kind of small scale light, quality of life update really. Right, so let's get playing. Put that on the game. Click that over there. Hello, Factorio. Very cool. I don't know about that, but yeah. I hope you're doing well. Having a good Sunday. It's weirdly hot and humid. Well, it's not weird because apparently there's a thunderstorm sweeping across the UK today. But it's weirdly hot and humid, and it's quite unpleasant. I've had to. I mean, literally last night I was woken up by the cold. Weather's been all over the place this year in the UK, but then I've basically had to wheel my air conditioner over where I'd put it away. So yeah, it's all a bit sort of confusing, really. But they're not going to be in foreign parts next week, so I don't really care what it does. Maybe it was some miscommunication, or Strange Brand just didn't mean to imply that exactly the next one was going to be volcanoes enemies. But boy, was I disappointed at first. The quality of life changes were amazing though, so still a banger. Yeah, I say very similar reaction. I mean, I suppose, Strange Red didn't specifically say it would be volcanoes enemies this week, but that was kind of heavily implied. So, farewell series. I know we've done. I've obviously slightly forgotten exactly where we were. I know we're going to do oil. I guess we must be doing oil next. I thought I was still having to hook some of this up, but there are military sciences going down the belt, so that must be all done and dusted. Yeah, looks good. So we need to do oil type products. I'm just wondering if maybe first I do set up, because I am planning on processing, making blue science here. Purple and gold I think I'll make somewhere else and ship in, or trade in, I guess. We should also do a bit of a sweep down here and check there's nothing invaded. Don't quite know what I'm going to do about this border, because these were relatively easy to just stick a quick defence on. I've not really secured there, have I? But yeah, so maybe I should stick something in there. But this is such a big area. And it's probably where we need to grab oil from, because we do have this one. Did I actually put some... Oh, I actually put some things on it. Because we do have, like, coal there. I think I was going to make... Wasn't I going to make... Yeah, so I've got some... Got some machines there. Item ingredient shortage, but no access to steel. I don't know why I didn't just bring some over. Maybe we should nip back and do that first. Because I would quite like to get Coverix up and running. And if we're going to look at this patch anyway, we could stick some walls around it. Let's do that first then. And then we can start on the stuff. Hey everyone, hope you're doing well. Hello German, how you doing? Hope you're having a good weekend. Good Sunday rather. But I'm not too bad, as I was saying earlier. It's a bit hot and sticky in the UK today, because we get a kind of thunderstorm working its way across the country. So it's a bit unpleasant actually in here. Right. Yes, I say, let's go back and... actually, I've literally just driven away from where there are walls and gun food and all sorts of lovely things like that. So, let's pick these up. How's that? Oh, it's a full row, eh? Oh, crikey. In fact, why don't I put some of those in the tank? Like so. We've got a load of stuff in there, haven't we? Okay, so let us go and hook up the centrifuges with some steel, because I'm sure that's what they're... Well, they'll be missing red circuits as well, won't they? That's a point. I wonder maybe... Because what we can do now, basically, is just rip this up and sort of, you know, instead of stopping... Oh, the red circuits are already on there. Why am I not... Oh, it's concrete, isn't it? I've not got any concrete. I say, because why am I making centrifuges at the top? I've got red circuits there. I don't know if it's worth explaining. So, the VODs for this series have not been going live on YouTube yet. My intention with them, I've been sort of saving them up because I'm obviously going on the holiday for 2 weeks, and they'll start going live on, you know, for anyone catching up or has not seen this series or what have you. They'll be going up like every other day basically while I'm away. So they'll start on, is it Tuesday? I can't remember. But whenever they start, they're then like every other day, and it'll then catch up with this one being the last one sort of before I come back. Because I'm pretty sure, if I'm totally honest, that I'm not going to continue the SpaceX playthrough. So we get rid of this. Not because I'm not enjoying it. It's the momentum has just gone out of it. Basically, there's just no kind of, you know, what would you say? And I don't have the time to play it off stream, basically, and that's sort of what it was relying on. Get rid of something like that. Maybe actually put that. Oh, put that away. So yeah, so I suspect that series won't return. What I'll probably do with it is essentially, you know, do this series as like the both Saturday and Sunday streams, and then if we get to the point where I've finished, or you know, I've launched a rocket and I'm happy to stop, then I'll just do the SpaceX. You know, say there's a couple of weekends left before Space Age. So yeah, these VODs will be going up on YouTube while I'm away. Oh. How did that completely fill up so quickly? So then I should set my logistics things now, but this is one of the things people are saying about you know, stuff. I'm sort of hoping we get like better ways of doing things, because the logistics groups is going to be a massive help there, but it's not really a solution to that problem of having to set the recipes every single time. Oh, this is going to get annoying again, isn't it? What can I get rid of? Maybe that. Maybe get rid of them. One of them. Not actually sure where they're putting all these things. So tear this up. There's a random pipe and a random power pole on the floor, of course. Of course. Get rid of them. Got a lot of train stations for some reason. I guess you can never have too many train stations. That. Oh. I could just set the bots doing this, really, couldn't I? Be way simpler. So. Assuming there are construction bots in that system. I think there are. Are there? No? Might well not be. Let's have a look, see. No, looks like there weren't. So maybe get them in action. We'll also, I think that somewhere nice for them to offload stuff. So do we need these engines? Are these engines? Yeah, they are being used for the bots, so that's fine. Can get, oops, get rid of these blue machines though. Dooby-dooby-doo. Okay. So they're sorting that out for me. I should tidy up here. Biddly bob. Yes, of course. Get rid of them. So I don't know where all those pipes keep coming from. Don't need random sulfur. Guess I could get rid of the labs as well. And that was the output for that one. Get rid of this, tidy up. You'd never know. You'd have never known it was there. So that was rocketry. Excellent. We could make a rocket launcher if we so desire. Hello. I even got started playing Factorio again despite it being 1.1. It's worth doing a playthrough. I was saying part of the reason for doing this whole series is actually there's going to be a weird bit when after the game launches where I'm going to have, you know, because I've been saying, you know, I can't stream on the actual day at the moment, though it's looking like my deadline at work is basically pointless. There doesn't appear to be any work for me to do for that deadline, so I might be able to convince my boss to let me take it off. But anyway, even whether I start on the Wednesday or the Monday, there's going to be a period where, where essentially you've got Space Age, you know, downloaded and installed and ready to go. But Space Age is a late game expansion. You know, it's an expansion for the end of the game. I'm sure it'll do stuff in mid-game and stuff like that. But fundamentally, it's about expanding, you know, the end game. So I could easily spend all of the time just basically getting to the point where I can, you know, I could have a week off, do 3-hour streams and play a bit in my own time. End up with a situation where actually I've not reached any Space Age content. So the sort of sneaky reason for this was that there's a very good chance that I think they have said that you can convert bases. And so there's a very good chance that a conversion is going to be a lot quicker than, you know, playing through, basically. It's going to break stuff. Stuff's not going to work. But that's probably going to be a lot quicker to fix. Oops. Arrive on that train. Than, you know, starting from scratch and playing through. And I say, doing a whole bunch of streams and realising, actually, I've not played any Space Age content. So, I say, one of the secret reasons for this is to basically play it through. It's a full vanilla playthrough. Also, I am very, very curious as to what a conversion looks like. What does that involve? I could maybe do a guide video on something like that, but then maybe a bit later, I think. But yeah, so I have been curious all the time as to how easy is it to go, right, I'm gonna add Space Age to my game. You know, if you could speedrun it and set the fast world record, hence getting in-game content out. I did wonder something like that as well. Maybe, you know, I could try and just blast through and speedrun. Obviously, the problem with speedrunning, you know, the new version is not knowing how it's changed and what the differences are. Improve, adapt, overcome, indeed. Because it's what I've been finding with the SpaceX one, you know. What I would probably do normally, and I always counsel people against restarting, but it is useful. If you know basically how things work, you're always going to build something better from the beginning. Particularly things like intermediates, where you're sort of like, I don't know how many batteries I need, so I'm just going to build something that builds a load of batteries. And then maybe it turns out you don't even really need batteries, you know. So yeah, there's always that sort of starting again is not necessarily a bad idea. Right, I want to make concrete properly anyway, so we will kind of repurpose all of this really. Yeah, of course that's full. Why wouldn't it be? Let's get rid of that as well. Yeah, so we will kind of rework this all together. Can you put that somewhere useful? Okay. Ooh, lots of gears. Circuits. So I'll have a proper build of that on the go. Are you powering anything? No. How about you? No. Oh, you are. You're our load-bearing power pole, are you? Okay. Good to know. Oops. That was silly. Oh, no. I'm a bit curious, if I'm honest, how much copper there is left. Oh, a lot of these tapped out. No. So we've got a little bit of stuff on the go still. Okay, so we just added... Oh, I can pick up as well. We've got an actual pump here that we can repurpose. Nice. Okay. So yeah, we'll get centrifuges set up. We'll have a whiz around the bottom to see if we've got any invading biters. And sort of get that area ready for so what do I want? Oh look, we've got defenders as well. Okay. What am I trying to make? I want to make centrifuges. And we've got everything available now except the concrete. And we want to make concrete anyway. There. And that's now got iron ore from that one. So we can put a little pipage here. Let's go. That would be a good... Oh, your pump. Where are you hiding? There you are. Let's do a little... Oops, dog leg there. Cool. So then we can direct feed that one. No, slightly too far. Do that one there. And put that in the chest as well. So that then we can give it a bit of the old that stuff. That stuff. What else do you need? Do you need stone brick? Right, we need to set that up. Give it a limit. Nice. And then we want... What do we want? We want gears and steel. Okay. Both of which are on this side. Pretty good. Oh, and of course it needs an output. So let's get it chunking away on a stacker then. It's not quick because it's a horribly expensive recipe, but that's fine. We'll just leave it going. Concrete is chugging away. That's quite slow, isn't it? Let's put a bit of speed in it. I tried to get some time off work as well. I would not be focused that week. It's for my employer's benefit. Yeah, it's a very good argument to make. I can't come into work this week because I will be horribly distracted by something else. I can't remember if it was you or I think it was Senna that said. Be interesting to see the sort of drop in productivity of software development in that week, sort of thing. Because and I guess things like engineering and stuff like that, because it's that sort of game where the majority of the players are that sort of tech person, as it were. Okay, so we now got centrifuges on the go. Hopefully I haven't broken anything here. Let's have a quick look. Looks like it's sort of chugging away. No belts have emptied out. Cool. So we're still kind of making the things at a very slow pace, which is perfectly fine. Cool. Okay. So what we need to do, is very quickly sort of nip around the bottom here, because there is something that's spawned there. To do that, we need to make sure we've got some poison capsules, which we have, and we've got loads of ammo in the tank, so we know we're okay there. We'll then nip back up here. Have I got cliff explosive? Yes, I have. We might just tap that one out. So how many spots is that? That's 4. We'll just pop some things on it. I don't know that I'll be hooking it up yet, or when I'll hook it up. And then we need to set a station up there to get that oil. Which means we need fluid wagons, doesn't it? Not got fluid wagons. Fluid wagons. Let's just grab a stack of them. Okay, so then we've got plenty of pipes. We've got a reasonable number of pipes. Let's get some more undies. We've got pumps. Kind of. 6, 7, 8. Have we got tanks? Yes, we've got tanks already. That chest. So I needed undies, which are where? Up here. Let's get some more of them. Make sure we've got plenty. And what else would we then need? We would need signals. We've got signals, stations, track. All good. I guess I could... I think I put some in the tank already, but I could grab a stack of labs, couldn't I? And whatever they're called, oil refineries. I should have a look at power as well, just to make sure, because this is obviously quite a power-hungry process. Let's double stack them. So, I think we got like a good sample of everything. Let's have a look at the 10 minutes. Oh yeah, we could do with some more. We do have a bunch in the tank. And we can easily extend that, I think. How many have we actually got there? Oh, what's that? That was odd. Oh, there we go. That took ages to come up. Thank you very much for the follow. OCA Soft. GM, I'm not sure how to pronounce that, but it took ages to come up on my feed for some reason. But thank you very much for the follow, very kind. I guess it's good to notify the boss I'll be taking some days off. just as a courtesy. It seems very likely now that there are many new things they won't talk about in Friday Effects before release. Oh yeah, I mean there's loads of stuff. I was actually gonna, if I'd had the time, Oh, we've got even numbers, so we need way more actual panels as well, don't we? I was going to kind of go back through and sort of see all the things where they'd gone, more on that later, more on that later. And then it's like, well, there's only 7 Friday Facts left, so when are we going to find out about that, you know? So it's solar panels that we would want, and they're actually down here somewhere, aren't they? Here we go. In there. We've only got that much room. Get rid of that and that. Some more. We've got a load in the tank as well. So, jobs then. Let's let them clear that out. I say we don't really need accumulators. Right, I do want to make sure I got plenty of these. It's where there are cliffs, there must be cliff explosives. It's a law of nature. But yeah, there's loads of stuff I don't think we find. People didn't... I'm obviously rubbish at the whole call to action things, because no one's posted in, you know, like prediction of what we're gonna get in my video. I think I'm gonna stick a sticky comment on, do my own as it were, but yeah. As I do these call to actions, everyone just ignores me. Call to action, well, it's like a marketing term where basically you're trying to encourage interaction, basically. I say I do them, and then everyone just ignores me. Forgot to turn the bots off, didn't I? And we are full of wood. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty convinced we'll get a trailer one at some point. You know, there'll be a Friday Facts on a trailer. Whether it's like the making of the trailer or, you know, what they were thinking of for the trailer, because they got to put a trailer on, surely. We can't have have it launching without a trailer. But it's just like the current trailer. Why are they not? Oh, I didn't pick any up, did I? I can build 4 though. In fact, didn't I have any? I did. Let's cancel that out. So I thought I'd got some. I've done that wrong. Is it worth putting efficiencies in these as well? Because they are very power hungry. Yeah, maybe we put a... Because they're only small patches, aren't they? So maybe we put a speed in for now as well. I'm hoping they continue Friday Facts a bit after going through all the things they didn't want to share before release and give us the development perspective. Yeah, I mean, it did continue for quite a while afterwards when Factorio 1.0 came out. You know, it did continue. At the very least, I mean, even if they take the exact week, you know, the actual week off, you know, we got posts about how many bugs they were finding and fixing, and you know, what the sales had been like. Approximately, they weren't you know, totally specific about that, as you'd expect, but you know, we did get a bunch of stuff. Obviously, you know, they then talked about what they were thinking in terms of next steps, you know, the expansion itself. So I'm sure they'd do that, but the nature, I think they work really well as like a marketing tool, you know, and it's sort of a, you know, because we're quite a techie audience in general, you know. Let's be frank. I think it's a type of marketing that could maybe do that way around. That I think kind of works really well, you know, because it's the type of game where how it works is the sort of thing the audience is going to be interested in, you know, and it's just a reflection of it. I'm sure a lot of people don't care about the Friday Facts, but you know, as I say, as a sort of general thing, it's quite a good, I think anyway, type of marketing. I think. Yeah. Okay, so we'll leave that for now. You know, obviously I'm not going to power it or anything like that. We will put power poles on it. Doot, doot, doot. I didn't put a pipe there. So it's sort of ready to go, but we obviously need to set up stations, etc. Yeah, so I think we'll get, you know, loads of Friday Facts. I'm really starting to suspect that the end game. I don't know about Aquilo. I think we might find out about that. Some people have been commenting saying that actually they'd quite prefer if they didn't talk about it, which I do, you know, kind of see the perspective of, but I think they will, just because it's like, I suppose there's an element of, you know, one of the things I've been wondering about is, will the tech tree be hidden? And I don't see how it can't be hidden. I don't see how it can be hidden, because how do you make a meaningful choice, which is what they were talking about which planet you go to first, if you don't even know what's... Oh, right. You lads are just making a new set of nests, are you? How long have you been doing that then? That's interesting. Got to turn the lights off. Oh, hello. If you've never seen them doing that before, what they were doing there, this is why it's formed. You see, it's got this. Oh, actually, that's the other. That's normal terrain, I think, isn't it? But they basically, what they do is the colonisation group, essentially every biter rolls a dice, you know, an RNG type dice, and says, what am I going to turn into? And it slowly works its way through that list of biters sat there and says, you know, right, you turn into a worm, you turn into a nest, you turn into a biter nest, you turn into a spitter nest. And then it finds a place to put them, essentially, around the area. It's quite fascinating to watch. It's really slow, actually. It's a really slow process. How much are we... So that's a big worm. Literally. That's a big worm. Now that you mentioned the call to action, I remember you asking. I just went straight to comments to read people's thoughts. There are more comments on your videos than I expect from the viewer count, an unusually speculative community or something. I'll be honest, I mean, you know, it's always difficult to express it, but I'm surprised at the number of subscribers I actually have, because the videos get thousands of views. I mean, obviously, I'm sure some people click on it, go, or just, you know, YouTube automatically recommends it and they go, oh, that idiot, just to click away. You know, you can see that in the numbers, but typically a third to a half of the people watch all the way through. So if you say each video gets, well, like the big ones, like the combat one and Gleba, you know, Stompers was quite big. They get, you know, sort of 2,500 views, 2,000 views. And yet I've only got 300 and... Well, I haven't even got 350 subscribers. I've got 349 subscribers. So yeah, I don't know. It's sort of... I should do the YouTuber thing and do the whole... In fact, are we going to put some defences down? I sort of assumed this had been all colonised, but it was just that one group, wasn't it? So maybe we sort of don't need to bother. Yeah, I guess that the whole thing of, you know, when YouTubers go, please like and subscribe, basically. That's kind of what you need to do, really, I think. Why can't you be bothered? Yeah. I did do it at the end, obviously. But, am I gonna... It's sort of fascinating, you know, that whole side of it, but I sort of shy away a little, because it kind of doesn't matter to me in a sense, you know, because it's not, you know, the channel's not monetized or anything like that, so it's all just interesting from a intellectual point of view, really. Why did I put that there? That should be in the middle, really. You can kind of see, I mean, it's all after the old adpocalypse thing, and you can kind of see how that would have been a real problem for, you know, the likes of Milhouse and that, you know, kind of dependent on that revenue stream, and then suddenly, you know, it just disappears, basically. 100 was probably a bit too many. But yeah. especially when you're like a niche, you know, when you're about a niche game and a niche area. You know. Yeah, I think it's quite a strong and, you know, fairly passionate community. In a general sense, you know, people who, you know, are into automation games, as it were. But I don't think there's that many of us, really. You know? And obviously Satisfactory is the big one, you know. In fact, I should put wood in there, shouldn't I, really, in these boxes? And so I've got loads of the stuff. Put that in there. Couple of them. This is just them to stop, you know, stop them from kind of coming back, really. It's not really proper defences. Why have you put silly things? Right. Grab that wood. Maybe put a wall across here, maybe. Something like that. Oops. Yeah, I would love to see anything, content, info, development stories, strategy, etc. Yeah, it's the behind-the-scenes stuff. That's why I love the techie ones. The behind-the-scenes stuff and the reasons for doing things, how they do things, is actually what I'm most interested in. Obviously, I love seeing new things we're going to get. But I'm almost more here for the, well, why did they decide to do it? And why have they implemented it in that way? That's sort of more interesting to me. It's like the... Because I really love NoClip. I don't know, people I'm sure know that. But it's a little bit lightweight at times. They have done some more techie ones, but they didn't really dive into the, you know, full-on technical side of it. And you know, the Factorio Friday Facts really do, you know, sometimes anyway. In fact, possibly too much in some cases. That noise one was obviously one of the more famous, what the heck are they on about type ones. But I'd love more of them. Possibly after release is quite a good point for that, because it's out and they're, you know, presumably, you know, started selling, you know, made sales and all that sort of stuff. So. Right, so if we just sort of go across here, maybe, just to make it locked off. Oops. Here's why we did spoilage and why you're going to love it. Yeah, exactly. I actually do really like the idea of spoilage because I need to build with a whole other goal optimization in mind. That short time on spoilage was a bit of a shock for me because that was obviously nutrients, which you use like everywhere, you know. That's like the coal of the biochambers, bioreactors, or whatever they're called. And so the fact that spoils in 5 minutes, you know, given that you need to be putting that into everything, which means it's, you know, a high volume usage. You know, you're going to use it everywhere, so having lots of it makes a lot of sense. But we obviously don't know the fuel costs, you know, the calorie costs on these things, but yeah, having that be 5 minutes, that means, you know, you can't exactly make it one side of your base and then have it travel all the way across, unless you're using green belts or something, because by the time it gets there, it's going to be like 90% spoiled, you know, so anything you make from it is then going to be, you know, even more spoiled, sort of thing. Well, 90% spoiled as well. So that was a bit of a surprise that nutrients have such a short lifetime. I feel like a rebel. All the things people have resisted, I've been excited for. Quality, spoilage, and the pipes. I think the YouTuber thing looks really hard. How do you produce regular content that will keep drawing more people while also having some luck with the YouTube promotion stuff? Yeah, it is interesting. There are one of the things that is kind of one of the shifts to it, because people used to be able to rely on the YouTube, you know, income basically, so the ad revenue and all that sort of stuff. But they can't now. So you'll find a lot of YouTubers have some other revenue stream basically. So, you know, obviously the type of one for content creator, as it were, someone who makes game content, is something like a Patreon or something like that, because you can't really sell anything. But whoops, that was a miss. But that's what a lot of content creators do, basically. So because one of the reasons I'm doing the YouTube channel, this might sound a little cynical, but I got like an idea for a little business, basically, that I'd love to give a go. It's absolutely nothing. It's literally nothing to do with gaming at all, like on any level. But it's one of the reasons I like when I did the combat video, and that was more produced, shall we say. That's kind of why, because I wanted to kind of see about how complex it is to do that type of editing, basically. But yeah, the idea with that wouldn't be the views would be almost irrelevant. It wouldn't be about getting YouTube, ad revenue views. It would be about selling. Well, it'd actually be consultancy as it happens, but the idea would be that they effectively act like a shop front, like an advert, particularly around because you're effectively, particularly if you're doing a services, like a service one, a consultancy one, you're effectively proving if the advice you give is useful and people like it, then you're effectively selling yourself as a consultant, if that makes sense. It's a bit like, you can actually see a lot of parallels in what Neil else has done. He's been very clever in that way. Where effectively by offering these tutorials on Factorio, he kind of proves the worth of what he's saying, where he's sort of saying, right, well, this is how you play the game. I don't agree with his approach of basically saying it is the definitive way to play, but by presenting it as, here's how to play and how you win and here's how you optimise, and he obviously does the masterclasses thing where, he's diving deep into detail, and it just proves that he's, what he's saying is worthwhile when people then try it and use it. So then when he says, how about funding my Patreon, people go, oh, well, his advice was useful. I want him to keep doing that. So I say there are parallels there, but yeah, he also has the advantage, of course, that he's effectively, I think he described it as retired, where he's basically not got, he doesn't have the kind of concern of, like owns his own house already, sort of thing. So he's able to put the time in. Okay, that's a very weird topic to be talking about. I say it can come across as a bit cynical, doing it that way. But again, it's this thing of I found it fascinating, like how things work, and why something works. Anyway, let us prep a blue science build, shall we? Same here. Quality to me is like, oh my god, legendary equipment grid. Truly. Yeah, quality sounds really interesting. I kind of get why people didn't like it, if I'm honest. I mean, the whole RNG element that it introduces does feel a bit sort of non-Factorio. It's a very deterministic game, but yeah, I didn't see. So maybe if we make them two, the oil ones, as it were, off-site, and then because I haven't actually done a green circuits build, have I? No. Maybe we could pop that in there, just quickly. Get a bit carried away. Let us maths up, because this is where it goes nuts, isn't it? You need suddenly 1,000,000 billion machines. So what rate are we doing these at? Or conceptual rate. So I've just done the standard 1 per second thing. So we would need 12. Okay. Am I going to just put them along? So I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 2. Yeah, and I'm also like liking the idea of now I have to not only design a factory building things for science, but also improving the existing stuff into better stuff. We're excited to spend countless hours trying to get that legendary achievement. One of the things I'm really looking forward to, and I say, I mean, is that basically, but as I say, I have this bit of the thing of the whole this is the optimal way to play. Is like you know, there's an old expression which I suppose sort of covers it's not like that, but which is that given the chance, players will optimise the fun out of things. You know, for a game, they'll optimise the fun out of a game. And if you say the fun in this game is optimising in and of itself, then you can and therefore it attracts the type of person who is, you know, keen on optimising. You can kind of see how you end up with a situation where, because we'll put the other two around the back, where essentially, not sure which would be better there, but you know, you're going to end up with these are the optimal builds, you know, and things like quality to me, particularly like, you know, the thing I liked about the beacon change was that it changes what a mid-game base looks like, and that all sorts of bases become viable mid-game, or useful, or good, or what have you, and it stops being about, right, well, this is the best thing to do, and becomes more about this is how I want to do it, you know. This is how I, you know, am playing in this particular system, you know, and tools like city blocks and buses and what have you, factory towns, train bases, they all still work and they're all still good fundamental ideas. But the whole thing of, you know, you must build, particularly, you know, you've got machines with different prod bonuses and all sorts of different ways of just even making a green circuit, you know. I mean, we even saw in this Friday Facts, and I didn't really twig that we didn't really know it was a recipe, but low density structures can now be made from liquid metals. You know, you have to stick plastic in still, but that just changes the game completely, you know, because then foundries can use liquid metals, which we know are like a way more dense way of moving material about. And it just, you know, it just makes things, having loads more options to me is way more fun and interesting than just, oh, well, this is exactly how you've got to. It's like when I go and build this green circuit build, I will be doing, you know, that guy. Because it's just a direct insertion optimal way of doing it. If you then say, actually, you've got a machine that produces insane amounts of green circuits in a different way, then that's more interesting, because you're also knowing, you know, we also know that you've got to build that machine on a different planet. So do I go to all the trouble of building that machine on a different planet, shipping it all the way over to Nalvis so that I can do slightly better EMP based green circuit builds, or do I just stick with my current one? And I say that, to me, those sorts of choices are just way more interesting than this is the optimal, or they add more interest, if you see what I mean. It's not that they're more interesting. And then if you say, right, well, not only is there a machine that does that, but actually it comes in 6 different flavours. Which one of those do you want to build? Because you could just stick with the default one and you'll get one every time you build one. Or if you want to use the super one, then you're going to have to build thousands of them. Because every time you do, you only get, you know, 1% chance of the next level of quality. So yeah, all of that stuff is what I'm really looking forward to, I think. So, we need to work out how many engines we need, don't we? Now, what we would need, so 2 chemical science packs out of 2 engines. So, if we have that, every 12 seconds, we would need 1 engine. That's basically what we're saying. And they take 10 seconds to make. So we need 10. Okay. Which makes it slightly shorter than that build. But we also need pipes and gears. So we can... Ages since I did a blue science design. If we... Why am I doing it like that? Like a total new... do that. Doot. 2, 4, 6, 10. Okay. So then if we... So how many would you need? So we would need to be delivering 2 every second. 2 pipes, 2 gear wheels, 1 steel. Okay. That's not too big, too bad. Just wondering when I needed an extra belt going that way, but I don't. Okay, so put it like this. I might actually, yeah, let's punt one further on. So make sure that they can get access to some. Just to make doubly sure we can make that over. Another another spam bot. Cool. Yeah, the achievements as well might be interesting. I don't know whether we're going to get any or what, because you can think of like hundreds of... I was always a bit puzzled. There were never any nuclear-related achievements. They never added that in. It wouldn't surprise me if the optimal handling would change going through the game too. Like, legendary everything could mean super quick transport of spoiling things, and suddenly you could build something quite different in the end game for the whole science stuff, yeah. I say, the whole thing of, well, now we, you know, there isn't really an well, I'm sure there will be an optimal build, but, you know, it's like that thing of the amount of resource that you're going to have to put in to build a, you know, legendary everything build. It's like that's then not a practical prospect for most players in most games. So what is the optimal build? And is there one, given that most players are probably not going to want to grind through doing legendary everything? Regarding content creators, very good name to be honest, yeah. I avoid looking at what's popular because I just get fascinated why someone would watch the biggest streamers or YouTubers. We're all probably a very small niche considering how exciting we are for building complex factories in games. Oh yeah, we're all a bunch of weirdos. That's definitely true of us. Okay. So, what did they need? They needed 2 pipes a second then, isn't it? So it's weird. It's sort of weird looking at just the basic recipes again. Because obviously in most overhaul mods, these would be more complicated, and I'd have to build, when SpaceX you've got like single cylinder engines and multi-cylinder engines and all this sort of stuff. So we would need 1 steel, 1 gear wheel. So in other words, every 10 seconds. So one gear machine is going to be fine. 2 pipes a second. If they're half second, so 1 of each will be fine, I think. But we do need to be careful about kind of getting the volume in. Okay. So maybe if we do that. So, oops, maybe that can be our machine there. Maybe I could move that forward one. Like so. Oops. And then we can have this iron come in there. Some lights on. So one of you's going to do gears. One doing pipes. Okay. And then we can just have the steel coming off of the minibus. Like so. Connect that up. That. Oops. So we do also still have kind of no protection down the bottom, so you've got to have protection. If we just sort of pop in a few turrets, and then we remember that we left all of our ammo in our tanks, so we can get some more. Pop some in there. 400's probably too many. Cool. Level that off. I've been using a lot of blue inserters. I don't really need them, do I? Yeah, let's just stick with them. I just think because I'm running a bit low. So, two, that one. Oops, that. Awesome. Tidy that up. Two. So that gives them engines. Cool. Really liking the look of the 111 trains. I'm going to try 121 for my first playthrough. I've always done 141, or 14 rather, but want to change things up. Yeah, I'm quite enjoying them. They're very quick. Is one of the things. Even with, because you know, this is only coal fueled, and they're actually quite nippy because it's not carrying or moving a lot of weight around. So that's been quite cool. It also allows you to do really like way more compact builds, and like turns and stuff, and signalling is a lot easier because this, that is shorter. Sorry, that is longer. I mean, that's not a bad example because that's not the blueprint. But oh, I forgot I didn't put the signals in. But that fits a train in, so you can do a nice, length of thing. Because my blueprint that I came up with, in my series, it was based on that distance of a power pole thing, and a 141 train is bigger than that, so it doesn't actually work properly. But 111 trains just fit in no problems. They're kind of awesome from that point of view. I don't know why I jumped to the tanks again. So yeah, I'm really impressed with them. It's basically, I was kind of, let's call it inspired to give it a go because of because Clona's been putting screen captures of a base he's doing that's essentially testing the trains on Discord. It looked really cool. He's also doing weird things like, which I'm pretty sure is heretical, but then I guess it's sort of his game. Kind of being one of the owners of this company. But he's not doing any buffering for the train stops, so they only fill up and produce stuff when the actual trains are there. Just say, I'm pretty sure that's a crime, but we've run out of researches pretty much. I guess we could stick an old follow account a couple of times, and then we are waiting on blue science, which is not far off at all. Right. Have I run it? No, I've not run it. Okay, let's go and tap this oil. The only thing I'm worried about is if I can create stations that do not need buffering, but could still supply 100% full belt, so to speak, even when trains are changing. Never did bi-directional trains, but I'm really excited to try. I mean, I always just defaulted to bi-directional. I don't know why. I think part of it is when I started playing roundabouts, and particularly through stations. So if you do any kind of, I mean, you don't have to, you know, there are ways around it, but if you do any kind of one-way system or one-way train, at some point you have to turn those trains around. And so, you know, you would end up with stations where, so you can do it with sidings, you know, is a way around it. But you would end up basically with stations at some point that had to do either a turnaround or something like that. And you know, so they'd end up doing some madness like that or what have you. But yeah, when I started playing, any kind of roundabout, and they've optimized this out of it, was just a nightmare because the trains would like try and go through the stations. They added penalties, cost penalties, that like basically stops it. So you would end up with trains. You would go to you would work out that your train system has stopped. You know, and you'd be like, well, why? What's happened? Why has that stopped? And you'd go there and you would see, wait, the reason it stopped is because some other random train has decided to use this train station as a turnaround point. And you'd be like, why has it done that? What, you know, why has it come through the station? And it's because they say there wasn't a cost to going through a station. So you would end up with trains just deciding, right, I need to turn around, so I'm going to go drive past this station. And that would then block in, you know, some other train or something like that, or it would end up sat across a junction or something like that, and then you'd end up with a logjam. And it was just like, I am never using a roundabout ever again. So yes, that's why I do, because I sort of forced out of the mindset, as it were, of using using them basically. I'm just wondering how I'm going to refuel these guys, because I'm just going to pick up the oil and then I'm going to drop off the oil. Am I processing the oil? Even if I am, if I'm processing sulfur somewhere, for example, it won't have coal, will it? So I think I need to drop off coal as well. Yeah. Now, where do I put the junction? Tell you what, let's put one on here, but let's curve it round. I'm going to have two stops. One for coal, one for picking up oil. Okay. Because then it's not quite... there's a... In fact, maybe if I do a proper junction. Yeah, we'll do a proper junction. That's the wrong one. So it needs to be a T-junction. There we go. It needs to be T-junction, really. So I'll put that in there. I need to get rid of you. So yeah, I say there are ways of avoiding roundabouts anyway without them and doing it slightly differently, but I say it was always just... It's like the whole thing of left-hand drive. A big part of that is just... And I've said this before, I can't get my head round right-hand drive. It just doesn't rock with me. It's like I've been driving, as in driving my car, for 30 years now. So to me, and I've never done a lot of foreign travel basically. So I've never driven. I've never driven like in Europe or anything. So the whole concept of driving on the other side of the road is just like, wait, people do that? Don't they crash? Yeah. Compilation video after the last pre-release Thread effects of all Thread effects features will be cool, but I don't know how I could get into in a single video. And this is basically just a summarised list. I think Troopin did a Here's Everything We Know video. And that was like something like 6 weeks or 2 months ago. And it was 2 hours long, and it's pretty much him just kind of reading it all out. It was heavily summarised, but it wasn't. So I only kind of skimmed it, but it wasn't like, you know, the videos I do, you know. When did I get my driver? I got my driver's license at 16. In the UK, you can get your provisional license at 16. Oh, you used to be able to. Maybe it's changed. I don't know. You get a provisional license at 16, and then you pass the test at 17. Back then, there was literally just the driving test. They've added a whole load of other things. There's always like a theory test now, and hazard perception test, and all sorts of stuff. But yes, I learnt to drive at 16. Actually, should I add another train on? I think we now have room, don't we, now that I've fixed what was the problem here. Why are you on blue? Guess that implies I didn't fix the problem here. Ah, it's not got its set train limit done. Yes, so we can add on a new train. I thought you were 35 to 40, but maybe not that far off then. I'm 47. I am an old man. One of the things, I've had that thing throughout my life that, so when I was like 20, people thought I was in my 40s. When I was 30, people thought I was in my 40s. Now that I'm in my 40s, like early 40s. When do I say that? No, it's probably more like 30s. So when I was in my 20s, people thought I was in my 30s. And when I was in my 30s, they thought I was in my 30s. And now I'm in my 40s, people think I'm in my 30s. So it sort of flipped round to being, people are a bit surprised how old I am. Also, of course, I behave like a giant child. So, you know. Actually, maybe, how are we going to do this? So, I guess we should have tank for a buffer for a tank for a buffer. Do I want to do two? I'd rather just do one. I mean, they're pretty quick to load, so maybe we literally just do one. Yeah. And then there. Tank on that as well. This needs a radar. There, maybe. It needs some signals. Which would the signals be? The signals would be that for going in. No, they wouldn't. Other way around. It would be that for going in. So I'm blocked. Don't come in. Wait. Yeah, because it's left-hand drive, isn't it? So that one needs to be one of them. Oh, it's not really going to matter, is it? Isn't? I'm literally going to set this as one, I think. So we are out of research. Excellent. That would be okay for that one. We probably do want another signal fairly close. Where would be a good spot for that? We'll just use that for distance. And maybe that one. So it can move across. Cool. So this one needs to be a coal drop-off. And Wait, do I want logic on it and stuff? I guess I'd need to, don't I? So we want all of this, really. I don't know that I need to do all of that, though. Because I'm literally just sticking some more coal in that train. So, oh no, let's just put it in. That. Then I'll just take that there. What's there? Put that, I think I put that in the wrong place, that belt, didn't I? There we go. No, actually it needs to move. Anyway, I'll put these in first. I can work it out. If we do splits there. Something like that. Somewhat like that. It's in the wrong place, isn't it? No, it don't matter. Get some lights on. So that needs to be. Oops. Yeah. Okay, I forgot to put a limit on them. Didn't take. So you then need a recipe. Auto. Destination full. Okay. Oh, it's because why are you trying to get to drop off? Hello, Bacon. I remember first time watching some of your streams and you were trying to figure out bugs with the trains. I thought to myself, I know what's wrong. They're driving on the wrong side. Right. Yeah, that's definitely what was wrong. Yeah. Hi, Bacon. How you doing? Hope you're having a good Sunday. Thank you for putting the lines in the same row. I see you two are one of culture. Okay, let's hook these up then. So, my least favourite bit of the game is oil. I absolutely hate doing oil setups. It's so tedious. It's like one of the one things you can't like properly automate. So if I let's do that. And there. Maybe have these ones come together. Oh, I forgot about that one. Okay. There's always one. Always one. No. Now let's do that. So I can walk past there. That. There's two. Little junction in there. Now, let's put these two together because they're nicely aligned like that. I hope we get something that makes like, you know, like prod bonus for that we get the massive prod bonus we see with making solid stuff, that we get something like that for oil, because as I say, I'm sort of a bit worried at how many oil fields I'm going to have to set up to make all this stuff run. You know, because like low density structures, you know, they need that plastic. And it's like, we don't have any bonus for making that. I mean, I say that. I don't know if the EMP can make them or something like that, maybe. I mean, obviously, Factorio itself has the whole recycling mechanic, so it's all a bit different. But that's not the same as making plastic, you know. And if we have to set up hundreds of oil fields, I'm not going to be impressed. So yeah, we'll put a speedy in for now, while we don't have bacons. Oh, I forgot to do the whole thing here. So, I think with oil stations, I'm just going to give them the one limit. I mean, I might put some logic on it, just in case I need to change it, but I think for now, let's just grab that. Ultra. I'm sure I've got it blueprinted, but do that. And then, yeah, we'll sort of... I can't remember how much a train holds. 25k. Lights in the same row, yeah. Wireless oil transfer, or simply putting an assembler at every pump to make it into barrels and then using robots to transfer. That's another thing. I'm not going to be impressed at all. I mean, like, properly not impressed. Less impressed than, you know, my whole being slightly mardy about the whole silly yum yum name. If we end up having to barrel and move around, like coolant, you know, we know these fusion plants need coolant. If I've got to barrel up and load space platforms with barrels and then unload barrels and, you know, take the fluid out and then stick them back on a platform, like you used to have to do with barrels. I'm just, you know, that's... Yeah, I'm not going to be impressed. At the very least, let's get, you know, if we're getting low density structures stacking to 50, let's let barrels stack to 200 or something. So it's a lot easier to work with them. What am I actually looking for? I'm looking for circuit wire. And why did I connect it to that? Connect it to that. So then, what are you outputting? You're outputting an L of what? Of what? What are you outputting? 15. Because that doesn't actually hold more than a train, does it? And I'm then going to get the rounding issue. This is another... I'm hoping this gets fixed with Fluids 2.0. Because you get the rounding thing that actually a tank won't hold 25,000. It'll hold 24,999.9. So, we don't really want to do that, do we? I think, as I say, we've got the logic on there. So I'm literally just going to switch this up in such a way that... How would I do that? So if I was to put... I could just put a different combinator in it in some way, maybe. Because obviously, an arithmetic... I guess I could just do train divided by train as a signal. And then it should always output 1. And then I say, if I need to do something like, actually we need more oil and more trains, and then I've got at least something sat there waiting for me to work with. Yeah, let's do that. Pump jacks work with mining productivity. I guess you could call that mining. Oil is infinite. With mining prod and speed, bacons and quality, your oil will be Newman. Alrighty, but I was glad to see Rainbow Beacon's efficiency, speed on the space platforms. It makes sense. Finally, the main bottleneck is space, where efficiency is actually useful. They might make barrels stack to 30 and then make fluid tanks times 3 as much storage. Yeah, I say a buff to it would probably be a big help. You know, that'd probably make it work a bit better. But So the idea of, I mean, so we don't know the kind of weights of things, and it looked to me, I don't know that they've increased the weight capacity of platforms, but I got the feeling out of that last one that, you know, maybe they've reduced the weight of some of the items that you need to move around. So if barrels can be, at the very least, really crammed onto a single rocket, then that might be a big help. But yeah, I'm not looking forward to having to move gallons and gallons of oil around. And I have noticed, apart from Gleba, we don't know about Gleba, but you know, Volcanus has a way of making oil products. It's not raw, you know, it's not crude oil, but you know, there's so much coal. You know, when you saw that picture, this is what I'm saying. I don't know that my speculation this week was all that good, because there's loads of stuff I've thought about afterwards, and I think a lot of it was just literally me being a bit mardy about, well, where's Volcanus enemies then? But yeah, the amount of coal on that, just that small area, was just ridiculous. That was an enormous amount of coal for what looked like a fairly early game area. So turning that, you know, using coal liquefaction, which now doesn't need, you know, the heavy oil to kickstart it, means that you'll have loads of oil locally. Now this obviously has all its oil. Fulgora has the oil sands, which is just an infinite tap of oil. And Gleba sounds like the recipes might be workarounds for oil. That, you know, plastic and what have you. You just take your imprisoned wriggler, shove some food in it, and then it'll poop out some plastic for you. And I say that sounds like they're trying to work around it. So it may be that only very specialised oils need to be moved around, like the coolant. So if it's just small stuff, and it's end game where it's, you know, you're using fusion power, then I'll allow it basically. Okay. But yeah, if I'm having to stick 10,000 oil barrels on a platform, like you used to have to do with trains, and then spending hours and hours debugging, you know, clogged up things because you had one too many barrels in your train. So. The more I think about the fluid update, the more I want it. It's just so clunky. If pumps did do pressure, and tanks actually emptied at a decent rate instead of a logarithmic curve, it might be better. Yeah, the pressure thing is always the thing I always really struggle with, because it's just your instinctive reaction is pumps equal pressure, fluids equal pressure, and it's just not how it works. And so it's like, you know, every time I build it and I have some problem with throughput, and it's like, oh, well, I need to increase the pressure. Oh, no, not pressure. So yeah. I'm interested to know if Rhaegar has introduced some tweak, because there was that, people pointed out, like, I don't know about exploits, but like sort of workarounds and stuff that I don't think he was keen on. So I'll be interested to see if there is some tweak to it that makes it ever slightly different. I kept forgetting the Yum Yum Yamako cannon, or whatever it's called. Isn't this almost a confirmation that there's a cannon-like new turret, perhaps not a railgun, but firepower is the most important thing? Yeah, someone was sort of saying on, it was Esky Raven, I think, was that, was it? I get all mixed up. I always do the comments in a massive batch, and I forget who says what, basically. That's plus I'm old, so I get that excuse now. But yeah, that potentially you could be firing the fruit, and you're sort of using the fruit to distract the pentapods. That might be quite interesting. I know people have suggested setting up like dummy plantations to attract them over, but I suspect they'll just colonise, you know, like biters do, and they'll just try and fill in gaps, basically, rather than try and follow the food. So, I think that's the actual oil done. Should I set that one up as well? I mean, we kind of need to go back to restock anyway. What time is it not for? Yeah, I think we'll drop off, so we'll see how much we can build of the actual rail. And then we'll kind of nip back, because I'm very short of assemblers, inserters. Well, I am very short of assemblers. Yum Yum Yamako cannon. It was a very strange name, if you know. And I say, I just assumed it was just some silly joke, basically, for that particular playthrough. But if they are actually called Yum Yum, or it is actually Yum Yum, or Yumminess, or whatever it is, Yummy, Yum Yum Yummington, then a Yamako cannon is a very strange name. Perhaps not a perhaps not a railgun, but fire power is the most important thing. Yeah, I mean, one of the things I said in the combat video is it could be, we could get a cannon turret, you know, because you've got cannon shells, which are so massively underutilized. They're also completely rubbish. My using them here is just, you know, it's not convinced me at all that that's a worthwhile thing in the game, like on any level really. So yeah, if they're that rubbish, given a bit of a reason to use them makes some sense. So yeah, kind of an automated cannon turret that does like intermediate range artillery, you know, like a mortar, like I was saying, or something like that. And that would make a lot of sense. I keep thinking low density structure means it's lightweight, but that's not correct. It could be 80 tons, it's just not dense. Yeah. I always took it as a kind of a scaffold material. Like it's have I unlocked it here? Oh, I have, yeah. That it's effectively like a honeycomb, you know, scaffold, basically. So it's not dense in the sense, as you say, that it's the amount of it, the strength that you get from its structure outweighs the, or is higher than simply having a steel beam sort of thing. It does make me wonder, you know, we know we're getting tungsten reinforced steel. So are we getting tungsten low density structures? You know, is that what the ultimate end product is there? As I've said before, I really hope we're building some kind of mega structure. And so having a super metal, because, you know, I've said this. Have I said this in the video? I have a feeling I chopped this out of one of them. But, you know, we're getting carbon fibre, famously an incredibly strong, incredibly lightweight, incredibly mouldable material. We're getting tungsten and tungsten beams and tungsten reinforced steel. Tungsten very famously a hard, strong material. So yeah, we're getting a couple of things at the least, which could be used to build something that requires a lot of strength, but for low density. So yeah, that's kind of where my thinking was going for all of that. We'll get a tungsten reinforced low density structure or equivalent, and where do I want to put a branch off? I'm thinking, because I've now created a nice little building area, so I'm thinking maybe I bring kind of oil here, and this is where we do the actual cracking, because that water then is quite close. I guess the real question is whether I'm going to do like integrated builds. So do I drop off crude and coal and make plastic? And do I drop off, you know, crude and turn it all into petroleum and make sulfur and sulfuric acid, you know? Because then I could have a separate one doing lube when I need. I'd have to manage the rest of the oil though, wouldn't I? Maybe I'd do that. Maybe it's a combined sulfur, acid, lube one. I'll take the heavy. I'm getting carried away. We're nowhere near doing that yet. So, we then want. What do we want? Do we want a T-junction? Probably. Where do we want it? Let's put it in there. Oh my god, I tried slowdown captures the other day. I might have been the first player to use them. They slow quite a lot, but this isn't a tactics game. CCing biters isn't very useful when you can just invite some rockets into their carapace. However, now that we have stompers, slowing or stunning them makes much more sense. They're enormous and have a ton of hit points, and making them lack maneuverability might matter. Yeah, so it is interesting. I mean, it's one of the reasons my sort of proposed tactic is really dense walls, but that have specific holes in them. And this is, well, I mean, one of the things that I've said in the combat video is around the slowdown capsules. They're right, the only way of deploying them is by you being there and throwing them. So they sound useful, and obviously, like the strafer. I mean, the wrigglers it's irrelevant for because they're just like biters, and let's be frank, the slowdown capsules are a pointless tactic for biters. But yeah, the only thing you sort of the only way of deploying slowdown capsules is by throwing them, and of course strafers deliberately stay out of your range. So any idea of, right, well, I'll slow them down so that my gun turrets can take them out, or I can shoot them, pointless. Doesn't, they don't get close enough for you to throw them. Stompers, I could see a tactic where you lob one of those at it. That could work. But they've got such high hit points and they're so damaging. I suppose if you did slow them down, then they wouldn't be able to stomp on you, maybe. And so that would be a way of keeping them like at a distance, possibly. But the biggest thing I find, and why I tend not to use these other things, is that you swap in between your weapons too much, and it's not, as you say, it's not kind of designed for that way of doing stuff. It's like I can't sort of select weapon on slot 1, 2, and 3. I have to tab between them, and it cycles. So it's not really designed for hot swapping, And then if you've got maybe you have 1, 2, 3, 4 as quick axis on here, but you're then holding it and you've got to click. So you've got to be looking where you're clicking to throw it, while at the same time also pressing space, which is going to go at your cursor. So yeah, it's all a bit sort of. You need about 12 hands basically to use capsules properly, and that's why my suggestion is the whole. I can just copy the other one, can't I? Really? Is the whole automated way of deploying them? Because if I could load them into something that will just throw them, then I'll probably start using them because they are fun. And poison captures in particular, I'm quite impressed with them. So I deliberately sort of used them after talking about in the combat and thinking, because when I was doing all that testing, I was like, actually these aren't all that bad. They're quite effective at lower levels of biter. And so that was kind of why I did that. Do I really need to load them onto a train? I mean, it's literally 4 spots, isn't it? No, this is pointless. There's no need to do this like this. You just sort of belt it over. How about we chop that off? Not build it over, pump it over. Now we do kind of one station there. In fact, maybe I don't even bother with that at all. And we just put a dead end in. Oh, why have you not deleted? Put a dead end in. And we use the normal output station. Because we need to drop off. This is for plastic, basically, that's what we intended. So we need to drop off. Why has it done that? What's going on? Is this bot's being lazy? Straight bit. There it is. So obviously this is a oil one. Well maybe yeah. Let's just make that the coal one. I think I'm getting confused. My partner and I did a playthrough on expensive mode with a 9 times as many biters. Poison captures helped a lot in that environment. Yeah, so I have been quite impressed by them. I never really bothered with them particularly. Yeah, I say they do work really well in combination with, like, you know, the tank and the car. Because you're obviously then protected, so you can just sort of sit there, destroying the actual nests. Okay, so we maybe take another copy of that. Do I have? No, I don't have enough trains. Do I? Okay, need to go and get another one. Actually, let's not put that in because I bet a train will turn up. Yeah, this obviously coal will be satisfying plastic production as well as actual train fueling. So we then need, let's just put it in there. Something for oil. Oops. Take, there we go. Actually, it'll be better on the other side, isn't it? It's always better on the other side. Right. Yeah. In fact, no, we can just send it round. As I say, it's a bit better on that side, but make much difference, is it really? Okay. Okay, so we've run out of track that I'm holding, but what? How have I left my? Oh, because I built all the rail coming down. So many hard and strong materials, yeah. Enemy targeting is going to be quite powerful for Spidertrons, I think. Late game, you can make 1 to 2 Spidertrons target the bases, and have 3+ Spidertrons target the biters. Indeed. Yeah. Does target filtering apply to Spidertrons? Because they are obviously basically a rocket turret on legs, aren't they? So can we do target filtering? We must be able to. I hadn't really thought about that. What am I after? I'm after some rail. There we go. Might as well also take those. What else? I think that'll do us really. I guess we could take them. Oh no, and put some turrets down. Haven't really had too many visitors, have we? Put this in, please. Thank you very much. So, this needs to be oil drop off, and it needs some logic on it, which we might as well. In fact, I've got one, haven't I? Didn't I template it? Yeah, there we go. So let's rethink that at some point. There. Don't really need quite so many lights. Okay, so can I make some more just to fill in that bit? So I need a little branch there, obviously trains. Whoa! It went for me. It was trying to get me then. Grab that. I think I'm then fueling it on both ends, aren't I? Don't matter. Don't matter. Okay, so that's empty in there. These have limits on them. Yep, okay. Might be worth this one. Because that's ordering stuff in, isn't it? Did I put the right one on there? Drop off, yeah. Okay. You're limited. Okay. So, obviously it was 25,000. And output A. I have to replace that with whatever it is. I think. No. Yes, so that can't be right. Output L of 1. I'm going to trust past me, because I don't remember how I did this. If a train turns up, it won't turn up because I haven't put the things on, but... Right, so... we need to hook that. I think I need to make sure this needs to be 2 tanks, because otherwise, as I say, we get rounding error and maths problems. And... crikey, can't see which... Okay. So it should be getting in like a 0 signal of oil, or no oil signal. Until the train turns up. Right, let's set you up. And let's give you that. Let's give you empty. Let's see what you do. Nothing. You don't do anything. Oh, why have I got pick up twice? Apart from me being an idiot. Empty. There we go. Well, it's moving. That's a step. I think you disconnect the wire from the combinator at the oil station, have I? It's difficult to tell what it's connected to. Let's see what signals come through. So 24,000. Yeah, it's not getting any signal, is it? So what have I connected to where there? What have I connected up? That's wrong. That should be on that one. There we go. So we're getting that oil signal in there. Hopefully with that, because this is why they've done the whole rearrangement of the wires, because it's all too confusing at certain angles. And also, now that's a green coming out of there, isn't it? That's telling it 25,000 is a load of oil. I don't know why it's got an L signal of 1. I say I'm entirely trusting past me. Oh, minus. Oh, that's what I want it to set as. Oh, okay. That's very clever of me. So it can't empty because it can empty, but that should be over our limit. So we should be getting an L of null, which interprets as 0. Oh, he's clever, this past me, isn't he? Okay, so what I'm going to do is hook the oil that we just did into this. And then it will sort of preferentially do this, and it's only when it drops below a certain amount that the thing will come, but we then also need a pump to prevent some backflow. Oops. We will also put some turrets on, just in case some friends turn up. Like that. And I'll put some at the back here. So I could wall in the back end, but doesn't sound very appealing. Okay. I think that's all sort of it ready to go. I better nip back to the main base and we'll get some more, you know, inserters and all that sort of stuff. Actually, I could put a radar over here as well, couldn't I? And that doesn't have radars on it either. Okay. Radar. And then maybe one there. One there. Cool. I can't believe we had to use combinators with single operations, messy wires, the just cut and paste and elsewhere. Yeah, I think I've said before, it's going to make my life and everyone's life, but obviously me being most important. It's going to make it so much easier. It's just such a pain in the bum doing some of the stuff. You know, I'd say to my friend when we've been playing, just the simple act of trying to do a nested if and, you know, a case statement effectively and all the types of things that you would normally just absolute breeze if you know what you're doing with programming. You know, absolute no problems at all. And just the fact, you know, they require 25 combinators to do at the moment, you know. It's going to be so much easier. New combinators would be so awesome. I've started to use combinators a little. Chest limiters get you quite far, but there are nifty things you can do. Radar at the oil mine. The top one at the top there, you mean? Oh yes, sorry, that was the bottom one. Yeah. Yeah, along with the nice quality of improvements for them. Can't wait. Trigger's most important. He is the one true protagonist of life. Finally, we found him, the chosen one. Well, exactly. It's always good to get these things acknowledged. I mean, let's get the ground rules established. I was thinking, do you know what solipsism is? I don't know if anyone's heard of that, but it's like the idea that you know that it's the same thing as the Matrix, basically, where where the world is built around you in a sense. It's not the same as the Matrix, but that you're the only real person, and that everything else is a simulation. Or a figment of your imagination or anything like that. And it's one of those philosophies which is unprovable. You know, it's one of those, a bit like that, you know, it is the, are we trapped in a simulation thing? And you basically can't disprove it. But the point really is that it doesn't matter, even if you were trapped in simulation. So what? If you can't prove it or disprove it, it's therefore sort of irrelevant, and that's the real answer to that problem. Or that, conundrum, or whatever you want to say. But yeah, solipsism is the idea that you are literally the only person. I was thinking about it because I was remembering some bits in an Ian M. Banks book after I was having a chat with my dad, which is a very weird link, but yeah. But yeah, because they had like a cult of solipsists, which was always a very strange. Because it was it was therefore multiple people who were all solipsists, so they all believed they were only the only person in the world, and everything else was like fake and imaginary. But therefore, how could you get a group of them? What am I looking for? I guess just everything, really. So let's go around. You don't get that chat with other streamers. There aren't that many other streamers who talk about solipsism. Unless there's a philosophy YouTube, is there? I guess there probably is. Not YouTube, Twitch. I'm guessing there is. There's a bit of a Twitch for everything, really. Right. So, grab some ammo. It's emptying out the wood. That's good. Top that off. Top that off. See, we haven't made have we made a single? I don't think we've made a single red belt yet. Got them. Miners, they're right. We need lots of blue inserters, I think. Sort of start fading out the yellow. Phasing out the click on the right thing. Long-handed. Have we got chests now? We need chests. And lights. Repair packs. Oh, I guess we can do that. Ammo we're fine with. What about turrets? Yeah, a bit low on turrets. Yeah, take a full stack of that and put some of it in the tank. Then we're missing, I think I grabbed some out of the tank, didn't I? Which is why I've got a full stack. So I'll have to check on that. We definitely need more train. I'll put some of them in the tank, I think. Do that. No, do that other. Tank as well. I've ended up with 2 of those in my inventory for reasons. Stick there. What about wires? Yes, please. Guess we could round that off. Then what about modules? Okay. Oh, I didn't put modules in there. Science builds, did I? Did I? No. Need them in the labs as well. Okay, so if we take a few more bodies, then stack of that. Wow, we have 46. Nice. Okay. So we could set up well, can't set up coverings, but set up a bit of uranium processing. I never grabbed belts, did I? An idiot. There are pages. Oops. There are pages of quality of life updates by this man. Still think my favourites are logistic ribs and super force build. My jokes around that, I love the little icon with the really angry ghost. That never really landed my jokes on it, but I love that little guy. Is the observable universe just an alien zoo? Maybe, maybe not. Doesn't matter. Yeah, that's the exact point. It's like irrelevant. You know, it sort of feels like a deep and meaningful question, and I suppose it is in a way. But it's also completely and totally irrelevant. You know, it's one of those. If there is no way of proving or disproving it, and you wouldn't be able to make any change. You know, if it's a civilization powerful enough to put you in a simulation of an entire universe, or enough of a universe to be convincing, then you have no way of escaping that. You know. Obviously, I mean, just mentioning the Matrix is obviously the trans allegory there, but one of the things that makes the Matrix quite good, and also why you get those weird things of people who are like anathema to, you know, kind of that point of it is, it really works as a very good allegory on, like, it's sufficiently open to interpretation that, you know, it kind of works no matter what angle you're coming at. That's sort of the beauty of the writing in it. It might be on the weekends at least. Well, exactly. Just the weekends. The real thing that drives me crazy is, where did the universe, i.e. energy, come from? And then comfortable thesis is either it wasn't, then randomly it was, or it always existed even before the Big Bang. I too love the angry ghost icon. I think it's wonderful. I want it right here. Yeah, I mean, it is an interesting question, though. The whole, where did the universe come from? But there are a few, like, interesting ideas. It does get into the whole, it's like the string theory thing, where it's like a really interesting and novel idea, but it's like unprovable, you know? It's and that's like the biggest flaw of it. One of the most interesting ideas I saw about, you know, what started the universe effectively is that, in a sense, what started it was the old universe, because, you know, there's obviously the expansion and, you know, the heat death of the universe and all that malarkey. And basically, if you get to a point where the universe is so expanded, so empty, and there's nothing there, then you start to get interesting quantum effects going on. And I say one of the most interesting ideas I saw, and it's obviously not a provable thing, really, was that it caused a change in the speed of light, basically. So you have a local kind of dip in the speed of light, and that essentially, you know, and I don't know the physics of it, but it causes a massive dump of energy, and so that's your kickstart of your Big Bang. But yeah, I say there are some other interesting ideas, like string theory and stuff, but I say a lot of it really is people come up with wacky ideas, and they're all just like science fiction, really. But it's sort of like, how do you prove any of it? Unless you start a universe, how are you going to prove it? You know, I'm looking for belts again, aren't I? I'm looking for belts, and I think we are there. And belts are at the top, not at the bottom. I think we are there. How many have we got? 633. Excellent. Nice round number. Let's put these trains in here. And then I think we can go and make some plastic. I'm actually wondering, maybe I should set up sulfur first, because then we could just get that moving. Where would I set up sulfur if I was going to do that? I think I've completely changed my mind. I think I'm just going to do oil processing, and we'll have it kind of all here. So I'll basically crack all of that oil, and then we'll have, you know, plastic and sulfuric acid coming off of here, maybe. And then when we need, you know, more and bigger, we can do more and bigger later. The Matrix is remembered for many reasons. As a trans person, I feel like there's many elements that are likened to the typical trans experience. Movie makers are both trans. However, the idea of being stuck in a matrix is more general metaphor. Yeah, that's exactly what I meant. Of being bigoted, stuck in a fixed worldview and being unwilling or unable to change. Yeah, it's a, it's like that Neo is like someone trying to escape, essentially, aren't they? And you can kind of apply that to various situations and what have you. But say there is a lot in it that is, specifically makes it work for that, or is about that in particular, the trans experience. But yeah, as I say, it's why it then gets general success as well. Is that the quality of that writing, which is why the rest of it is such a disappointment. The second part and the third part, and it just goes. I think it's because they never really intended to have a second part. There was no. Well, this is where the story's going, because the story is complete. Although it has that, that ending, that is actually the ending. Because the ending has that feel of, well, what next? What happens next? But that wasn't the point of it, which I'm sure they knew. That's not. It's not like they were surprised that their own story didn't really have anywhere to go, in quotes. But it's then why you end up with just sort of fairly generic, rubbish for the second and third one, and a lot of COD philosophy and stuff. Because I say it didn't really. The bits that they continued weren't really the point of it. They should probably be the other way around if I'm going to connect that. Which is fine. I mean, it's not like that. Any of that matters as such. But okay, so I guess maybe 2 and 1. It's giving me a hankering to go and watch it again, Matrix. The genuine outside world is being hidden, tried to suppress, etc. Yeah. Reality is not as it seems. It's just a fundamentally interesting concept, isn't it? Okay, so we need a offshore pump. I guess maybe should put in a turret as well, in case they do come and sort of jump on it a bit. Oh, dear. I can't explain to you how hot it is in this room. So where this heat's come from, I don't know. It's really annoying. I guess maybe just if I do a dog leg. There's nothing else there. And we're getting cliffs that make sense. And it's able to form valleys and all sorts of cool shapes, Oh. I've run out of pipes. I did not get enough, did I? In fact, let's solve the problem with explosives. That's always a much more valid approach. If you're going to solve a problem, solve it with explosives. I think we need to nip back and get a lot more pipe. Makes it also about cultural shock. There's all sorts of crazy stuff other cultures do or have done, and then you realise your own culture is no exception. Indeed, that's really hard to realise and accept, it seems. Yeah, there's no pipes in there at all, is there? Okay. We missed the pipes. Let us go back. Let's quickly get ourselves some pipes. Some pipettes. I was watching the big advantage of these like tiny quality of life ones, and I should be therefore more thankful, is I actually get to do stuff like watch YouTube videos that I put in my watch later list, and because obviously it was Gamescom, I was talking about this the other week, and I'm trying to not to get too excited. So I have a bit of a habit of getting a bit too excited about new games, and then they're a little bit disappointing. And that's sometimes more because I've got too excited than they're actually bad or anything. But there's a game Atomfall, and there was like a develop a deep dive into it. Because by Rebellion, which is a British developer, they make the what's it called, Sniper Elite series. They also own 2000 AD, if anyone knows what that is. I don't know how many Brits there are here, really. And yeah, it's sort of. I did look at, the initial look at it seemed like a bit like. That's not set very high, then, isn't it? A bit like a kind of a British Fallout in a sense, almost like they did the recent Fallout London. If I get some iron plate as well, then I can fill that out. And so that's what I was kind of assuming it was, but it sounds like it's much more like a proper RPG. And on some of the images, they have the Wicker Man. I don't know. I mean, I think people probably know what that is now because they did the Hollywood version with old Nick Cage. And so, it feels like there's going to be a lot of pagan stuff. But the guy was using a lot of words that I was very happy with. Because he was referring to like old British sci-fi. Things like the Quatermass experience, I can't remember which it is. And The Prisoner and all those sort of 70s British. It's where Doctor Who came out of, but Doctor Who was a bit more, monster of the week. Silly man in a silly rubber costume type of thing. Although it has a lot of proper sci-fi in it. Douglas Adams actually wrote one of the series of Doctor Who. But yeah, and he was sort of saying that they're trying to go for that type of science fiction, where because what's one of the hallmarks of that type of sci-fi? It's like the whole what do you call it? It's like the sort of yeah. One of the consequences, there's a theory, essentially, and it didn't quite work because Einstein was came up with most of the ideas before it, but there's a bit of an idea that the reason like quantum physics really took off is basically because of the Second World War, and that the whole like concept of certainty, and because Newtonian physics is very deterministic like this. And quantum physics is very probabilistic and chance-based and risk-based, and that type of philosophy. And so there's sort of a theory that just the horror and the randomness of war in the early part of the century was kind of the catalyst for that really taking off. And so that's what a lot of that sci-fi is a reflection of as well. The Prisoner, all that about reality not being right, basically. That things being wrong, or that outside influences are, you know, controlling things and stuff like that, because, as I say, it's almost a reflection of that. You know, everything you knew has been proven wrong because, you know, the horrors of war, basically. So, well, society didn't keep us safe, type of thing, you know. And so that's where a lot of that sci-fi comes from. So I say, you know, so using a lot of words that I was like, ooh, that sounds just like my cup of tea. I asked my friend, what's the point of... I'm getting very deep today, I don't know why. Maybe it's the heat frying my brain. I asked my friend, what's the point of Noah's Cliffs, like, really? It's supposed to push the player to build more organically and fiddle around with their space, but it's generally annoying. However, on Volcano's Cliffs are the word of the day. I think when it's a single planet doing it, I like it. Volcano Steel is space constraints and organic building. Yeah, well, I like much more the generation that they've talked about, the new way of doing it, because, you know, if it actually, you know, creates sensible barrier, you know, this whole thing of it's just like a different layer, like split filter, as it were, on the same noise expression, which is why it always just follows, you know, the water, because it's just like, you know, that is a cut-off point in the noise filter of, you know, 0.7, and then that's a cut-off of 0.72 sort of thing. So you know, and then they draw a board around it and chop bits out of it. So that's why it's always just annoying, because it's just in the way all the time. But having it be much more, you know, there is a valley here, and so the cliffs go there, and this was where there was a, you know, a landslip, as it were, and this whole part of the terrain maybe has a cliff across it, and then you can put a sensible defence. I quite like the concept of that. Whether it will really actually work that way is something we'll have to see. But yeah, I'm much keener on the new way of doing cliffs, but we'll have to see. My biggest question is whether you're going to be able to turn them off, you know. And if you do turn them off, does that mean they're off on Volcanus? Because, like you say, and Falgora as well. I mean, what would Falgora mean without cliffs? How does that work? But yeah, because if that's the big challenge, I was saying this before, it feels like maybe you just won't be able to turn them off on Volcanus. If you set that to 0, turn them off, it only works on Nauvis, and you've got to have them on, you know, on Volcanus. Otherwise, kind of, what's the point? Falgora has cliffs, but it's really more about the islands. The islands itself is space and power constrained. Then Gleba is just wildly unique altogether. There's a lot of poop theme on Gleba, I would say. You seem to be doing a lot of things with poop. Yeah, I mean, the thing I say with the Falgora things is that those edges are cliffs, you know. It's not like they are, they've invented something new. The edges of the plateaus are cliffs. So if you turn them off, it will look weird. So yeah, I do wonder if the only place you can turn cliffs on and off will be Nauvis. We'll have to see, I guess. But yeah, I think there'll be a few people upset at that if that's the case. I don't think I need this many guys. I need like 2 or something. Maths on oil is like, if you want to know about things I just don't bother with. I just like, this is my classic area. We'll just stick buildings in until it either starts working or stops working, you know. Don't know why I put all of that rubbish on there. So put that. Oops. There. Oh, am I out of that already? No. So that would be. I mean, I guess what we want really is a bit of a tank going on. That's the water, not the oil. Bit of a tank situation. When we want lube, we probably need a bit of room. Do we? Maybe not. Because we need a pump there that we can do some logic on eventually. Right. That there. They have no power. Put any lights on. Oops. Is there any left? Yes, add more. I expect that disabling cliffs will really alter the gameplay. To me, it seems like a big loss, but it seems to be very popular. Wanting to disable spoilage and cliffs altogether. Oh, they're definitely not going to let us turn spoilage off. I don't know, you know, a mod, sure, but oh, we're definitely, we're definitely not getting to turn that off. So yeah, we have, I guess. Should I also? I mean, I might as well set up trains for doing this, mightn't I? Where am I going to put the lube then? Maybe the lube can be here. Where's it gone? Oh, yeah. So put it in there. But you might as well put the actual lube machines there, I guess, won't they? Which means if we take this kind of around the back, and then, in fact, why don't I just pump them into, not doing anything else other than with it. So, chem plants, lube. Okay. Okay. Okay, that, and then tell you. In fact, there's going to be a green wire. Only turn on if heavy goes above, say, 5,000. No power. I agree, I always play with them off, but with new generation and how it alters gameplay now, I'll be leaving them on. I've never tried without entirely, but I do love the cliff explosives. At the very least, I'll play through the game with all default settings. Cliff explosives to me are a bit of a sort of tacit admission that cliffs are rubbish in the current game. Because it's like, why would you need something to get... If this is an amazing feature, why would you need something that really... It removes them really easily? Because cliff explosive is really cheap when you really look at it. And it's just a tacit... It's just an admission, basically, that actually this isn't doing what we want to do. My lady's oil build was to make a tileable coal liquefaction plant that exclusively made rocket fuel. It was a lot easier when I did the maths with Factory Planner mod, so I could just focus on building. It's not too bad, a single refinery could make 2 rocket fuel a second. Isn't rocket fuel one of the most of those super slow things to produce? 2 seconds. Sounds nice. It is 30-second craft. I've had level 3 modules. We had level 3 modules, sorry. I forgot how many beacons per machine, but it was atypical. We don't like 8 beacon or 12 beacon builds. We do wacky stuff like 3 or 4. So that was actually, so in my blueprints saying I'm deliberately not using these, but in here I've got a, so you see that, I don't know if you could see, in fact I just pick it up. But, so this is, where is it? Nuclear fuel, there we go. Oops. So this is a coal liquefaction build, and it basically draws in a whole load of coal and then it's fully balanced and it pumps out nuclear fuel at the top. So all you'd have to supply it with is, is the, I didn't set up the coal and up the uranium stuff today, but then I need sulfuric acid, so that's fine. But yeah, that's what that is. And I think actually plastic, really, the best way to make it is from coal. It's just like so self-contained. And when I did my Mega Base series, I had a really neat design. It wasn't hugely efficient from an UPS point of view, but then nothing I build is. So yeah, that was like a really neat little design where you just brought in coal and out popped plastic, basically. It were good fun. It were good fun. I left the red ones in the tank. So yeah, we need to sort of snake that over. And I guess we can have some fuely things, but how about we put on the train logic first. So this is a pickup. I think maybe I'll just pop this on the other side. Really. Like that. But yeah, I prefer coal liquefaction in many places, really. So how about we? I think I've been red wiring, haven't I? The actual output. So this then is there. No, it doesn't. That's light. And yeah, I'm going to get the same problem of rounding errors. But we will just set this 1000 loop. In fact, we will just do the same thing as I say. Train divided by train equals train. Set limit. So this then is do pickup. Because obviously we're going to need electric engines very soon in significant quantities. I didn't pick the fluid wagons up. But we also want to bring this round. Didn't pick them up again. The new tooltip feature is going to be so nice. Manually calculating the exact outputs and inputs rates are just ridiculously cumbersome. Planners are still very useful and even rate calculators, but enabling non-mod players to do most things quite well. Yeah, it's a really nice little addition and a bit of a... I think particularly with fluids, the fluid stuff is, the maths is kind of horrible on all levels because you're trying to track 3 fluids all at the same time, and it just gets, annoying basically. And particularly if, like me, you've never really bothered with the whole how much bonus you get up prod modules and all that sort of stuff. Again, I normally just whack them in, and if it's not running, I add more. So yeah, so having the actual numbers just easily there, and it's done all the maths for you, it's just going to be awesome, really. I guess what I could also do is maybe we could have... I'm not going to want to send heavy oil anywhere, am I? Yeah, I mean, I could stick light oil in. I don't think I'm going to bother with any of that now. So we want more stations, and we want... So we're going to have one... plastic... sulfur, sulfuric acid, I guess. We will also then need iron plate dropping off in order to do that. So let's put that one in as well. Let's let the bots do their thing. And as the humble person I am, I'll tell myself that I contributed as that exact tooltip feature was once or twice mentioned by me on Discord. I would make sure they get a credit in the game there. I think that's a top addition. Call yourself a game dev then, game designer. Cool. So we don't really need these chesticles if this is... Oh, wait, this was going to be... Oh, we'll have to see. Let's just build them in and I can pick them up later. Excuse me, because we need... iron plate, don't we? And these do have a generic name? Yeah, bean kappa, which I've apparently accidentally copied. They're all the backers from the original Kickstarter. You know, when Dosh did his video on, you know, those extra modes, the thing he didn't mention is that they all came from the original Kickstarter. So they were like stretch goals from the original... I don't think it was on Kickstarter, was it? It was like Indiegogo or something, or... I can't remember what the other ones are, but yeah, those are all stretch goals from the thing, so it does make me wonder what they're going to do with those. Because they didn't fix, I mean, as he pointed out, the introduction of longer undergrounds for blue belts and red belts made them trivial. But certainly the later puzzles. The one I didn't get, so I'd never played. I mean, I did the Belt Madness once, like when I first got the game, but I'd never done the other modes he used. And so the weirdest one was like the one that's got like a market on it, and it's just, I don't know, like that building just looks very strange to me. I don't really see how it's a market. It's a very weird looking building. Yeah, so we need to fuel them up and stuff like that. But then it's all fluids and stuff anyway. Well, that won't be, that with plastic maybe. Yeah, let's finish this off because I got distracted again. And I can't get through there because we don't have any squeak through. So that's the heavy. This then. And I'm out of pipes. Marvellous. In fact, let's just head back as well. Maybe to kind of wait. We are very close. I suggested enemies have new resistances, saying it now. I'd have copyright on that one because that was basically one of the major points out of my enemies video that I've decided basically I'm canning. I think I might do it when I get back or something. But yeah, that was kind of the point I was making. Is that the whole rock paper shotgun? No, that's the website. Rock paper scissors thing of. Right, well, Volcanus enemies are weak to, you know, something you make on Gleba, and Gleba enemies are weak to something you make on Fulgor. You know, that sort of thing makes a lot of sense to me, because it then, what it does, that sort of mechanism, is it means that, essentially, it makes those planets a challenge when you go there first time, but then it drops the challenge away when you know, you've got the things from the other planets, and therefore it's a way of making the game have a, well, this planet is tough when you first go there, and it doesn't matter which planet you go to first, because it's always going to be tough, because it's, you know, mismatching what you've got and what you've done But then when you get into the end game and you've unlocked everything on those planets, they then become a bit more, bit easier to do, bit more trivial. And I guess just to go through, my idea was that maybe Liebe has some kind of either virus or biological attack, basically, so that the Volcanus enemies could be weak to this, bio weapon, basically, and otherwise they're really tough. So they are, proof against, they're safe against physical damage and explosive damage. That stuff doesn't hurt them, but bio, or whatever you want to call it, virus, is something they're really weak to. And then, because this is why I was going on about the artillery and the combined effects thing, because it feels like if you then could make, poison artillery shells or virus or bioweapon artillery shells, or like flame artillery shells, and that would then be a way of you delivering those more effective systems. Because then you would have like Liebe enemies being particularly weak to electricity, and that's what you get on Fargora, and the bots or whatever we get, whatever the threat is on Fargora, if it has one, they could be particularly weak to fire, for example. And so you then got a bit of a triangle of right, I need to move the Tesla turrets to Liebe, and fire turrets or whatever to Fargora. Or I was trying to link it in with the combat video in that you might get a liquid metal turret, and that it's not fire, it's liquid metal, and you could kind of imagine if it's a robotic enemy, that if you squirt liquid metal at it, it's going to melt it, but yeah, that's kind of what that video was about, and then they actually told us what was on Liebe. So yeah, I was here for pipes, wasn't I? Yes. I'm glad one of us remembered. We've only seen laser turrets on Volcanus. It's odd. Yeah, I would agree with that. Surely with Foundries, ammo isn't difficult to make. You'd think it would be the most easiest thing to make in the world. And, piercing rounds would be just like, because all of your metal is free on Volcanus. So yeah, the fact that they're not using ammo is clearly a big clue. And only using lasers. And, there's not a single flamer turret, because, as I say, Volcanus, you won't necessarily have crude oil, but you will have heavy, light, and, well, heavy and light. You can't put petroleum in flamers, but flame turrets also get the bonus, don't they, from the other fuels, the light oil, and they don't appear to be using that at all, which could obviously be a personal preferences thing, but it does smack of, well, there's no point using flamers because the enemies are almost completely resistant to flames. We're basically devs now. I'll go change my reservation. I'm alright. They're just iron and copper, exactly, yeah. And like steel is super, gets all these prod bonuses out of it. So making piercing ammo is just going to be so easy with the Foundry, and yet they're not doing that. True. Didn't we see red dots on the map at the laser fire effects of Volcanus? I guess that has to be enemies. I don't know that we saw red dots. We definitely saw red things that are clearly turrets, lined up in a wall. But they were, the square turrets. I'm pretty sure they weren't, because obviously a flamer turret is the 2x3 shape, and these were clearly like 2x2 type shape. Possibly as 2 layers thick, maybe, but yeah, it was a definite. So they could be gun turrets, but if they're gun turrets, how are they fueling them? Not fueling them, feeding them basically. There doesn't seem to be anything to do with that. But yeah, so feels like the Volcanus enemy is probably going to be very susceptible to laser, and of course, being closer to the Nauvis system sun, You know, we know that solar is going to be a lot more abundant, so powering laser turrets is going to be a lot easier. So that could be a part of it as well. We do say there's not really enough room for bacons, am I now? Oh well, never mind. I doubt we will be using them. So I just copy and paste kind of all of that. And then do that maybe. And that will need to change. So we need to stick some light oil in it. It's light oil. So cracking that to petroleum. Don't really have any use for the light oil, do I? Here. Yeah, two of them. Oops. Oops. One of them. Oop. Just put a load on. Okay. Copy that. And you're not going to activate because you've got the wrong thing on. But also, is this just full of petroleum then? Yeah, full of petroleum. Okay. Follow your petroleum jellies. Okay, so if we grab that, like so. And then we need to hook water up. Like that. And then if I just sort of put yeah. Where do we want to take the coal? I guess if I do that, but make sure it prioritizes sending it to the trains. And this gets us the coal. And I can do a bit of a gap there because we probably would at some point need a little bit of beaconing. We'll do the whole Catherine the Sky style offsetting thing, I think. Oops. I didn't connect this here, did I? Like so. See, in contrast to the actual oil fields, I really enjoy setting these up. I really like doing the whole oil processing. It's kind of mad alchemical fun, you know. It's really hard playing both Foundry and Factorio in default queue mapping. Z in Foundry clears your hand. In Factorio it drops stuff. Oh, right. I think I've only played like an hour of Foundry. Do you recommend it? And I sort of almost deliberately ignored it because, you know, there's so many big updates to the games I already play coming. So, if we were to try, in theory, to make a belt's worth. Oops. Wrong place. So, if this was the plastic one, do I want to take it all the way around there so that it avoids it? It's a lot of belt. I guess I could break with my philosophy and do cross behind, and I could always do it as a side loady thing, couldn't I? No. Yeah. So we then have that there, that there. Didn't put lights on these. There. Didn't do a recipe. Wait. Let's like it. Oh. Why you am not do tile? Because I've not. No, still not done it right. So that one should be there. There we go. Yeah, so in theory, I mean, because does that round out as crafting speed is ever so slightly above? Okay. Because then we're just getting free stuff, basically. So yeah, if we were to vaguely aim, maybe, possibly-ish, 20, so we would need, belt is obviously 15, so we would need, have a car second time of half of that, so 0.5, in fact 2, to add that 7.5, so we'd need 8 machines maybe, but obviously we're getting a little bit of bonus, so 2, 4, 6, 8. We just leave it at that really, don't we? That's close enough for government work. Cool. So then, get this up and running. We might have some actual plastic. It's not connected, is it? Ta-da! Why are you not working? Just flowing through. Oh, we're getting lube as well. We're getting lube as well. Look at that. Crikey. Well, it's quite cool because of the underground mining, but I haven't reached late game yet. I have restarted a couple of times. Polish, content, etc. is far from Factorio, of course, but I think they found a nice niche like Satisfactory. Okay. Is it early access then? I thought it actually sort of released in sort of proper, as it were. Yes, so the other question then would be, how much are we actually trying to supply? It's a bit the maths I didn't do. How much are we trying to supply? Or do we need, rather? So if we do the... Look at that. Then it would read... It would require... If we need 8 of them, we would need, say... Because we're getting a bit of prod bonus. But 160 a second. Now, one of those... And in theory... Switch up... Can produce 20 in theory. So 20, 40, 60, 80, 100, 120, 140, 160, 180. So that does produce what we would want. We're obviously getting more out of this. But if that would be... How much does that then require as input? Requires 30. Now these guys are producing 30 each. So 30, 60, 90, 120. 30, 60, 90. Other. And then how much are you producing? You are producing 45. So one of those to like 1.5 of those. So 3, 3, and then that would cover. So it's 2 to 3, isn't it? So 2, 3, 2, 3, and a bit extra. So hopefully it's vaguely balanced. I mean, it's got prods on it and all sorts of stuff, and speeds, but it feels like it's vaguely balanced for making the oil. But we also want to run some sulfuric acid off of it and sulfur. So if we add in a bit more, first I didn't check whether these can run 40 out of there, 25, so 50, 100, 150. What was this? 25 was it? No, 40, 40, 80. Yeah, so we'd probably need some more of them. Maybe do 2 more. Again, this is where I tend to get into just... Oh, the machine stopped. Yes, add more. Territory, but I think we're vaguely there. In terms of oil then, what would be required? Oh, why are you not connected? Oh, that was not done. So the recipe on that... I can't check it here, can I? Recipe is 100 crude oils. And these won't be providing anything like that. So it's 20... 525, so that would be like 2.5 machines. And then that... Oh, that's a different one patch. And then that's say... It's 100... Okay, so we can vaguely sort of run it, but not really. So we ideally need more oil. We could always steal some of that, I guess. But yeah, what we need are these, that patch there maybe. If there's anything off the bottom here. Are we done? Not quite. Yeah, it's early access. Before it released, I thought it was a full game. We have run out of undergrounds again. Oh, so we need to flip this on the other round. Like so. We then need. Don't know where everything there. That on it, and then we need pick up, round. And then that's connected. So this would be a stink. Train out 2000. I think it does because it stacks to. Is that right? No, it's 4,000. It stacks 100. So 1,000, 2,000. Yeah, so it's 4, isn't it? Maths, the real enemy. There. So this now is plastic picker. Cool. Wonder if we'll get. Oh no, we won't because it's like 10 to 6. And this needs to be a load station. Oh, somebody moved my train. That 1 to 6. Go. Oh. No electric trickery. there. And then I guess we could radar every other one, maybe. Definitely lights on it. Cool. So obviously we need train food. Look. That misclick was my mouse. I'm pretty certain it's going. It's the, the actuator, the actual button in it is knackered. But then it is. I mean, it's got to be 15 years old. This mouse. Back when I was working out what the best way of coping with my carpal tunnel was. Okay. Okay. We now have a train of plastic. Before that, and then... I mean, should we just make that plastic? No, because we don't want plastic dropping off there, do we? We want plastic dropping off somewhere to do red circuits. What we do need, though, is sulfur. Okay. So, if we assume we add some bacon in there, we want some pipe room, or belt room, rather. So you can go there. Guess maybe do the same thing again. But I want to turn some of this into acid, don't I? Okay. Now, 2 sulfurs every second. It's basically the same maths on this. Huh. 30. 120. Okay. Yeah, maybe try and do a belt on it. So if I just literally copy this. And change the recipe. 2 sulfur a second. 2. That seems like a lot of sulfur, but it'll self-balance. Okay, this one we do want to send elsewhere because we need to first turn it into sulfuric acid. Again, belt room, acid. So this needs 2 inputs. Okay. But its output is liquid. Huh. What do you need? 5 sulfur and water. Okay. But don't you output a load? How much do you put out then? 50. Okay. 50-50. Guess it depends on how many batteries we want to try and run on it. So I mean, if it has a 1 second craft time with 5, then an entire yellow belt is only going to supply 3 machines anyway. It's weird coming back to the numbers and sort of not knowing them but not knowing them. It's a very strange experience. So we also need iron, I guess. But we could do... what could we do? We could do a split there, maybe. Actually, let's take that to there. So we then need to put water in. Oh, come out again. I've not got any things. Okay, need to head back again then. I didn't put any turrets on these, did I? Let's do that. Maybe have one, so maybe there. Yeah. Let's protect the bottom one. Got the ammo. 5 to 6. Okay. Feels like these streams always speed up as I'm going. Because I'm in this one, I'm deliberately not playing, you know, off stream. I should be playing the SpaceX one, but as noted, I don't have the spare time. But yeah, this one feels like I get quicker as we go along, and then suddenly it's over. Yeah, we're a bit stuck with that pipe again. Oh. Bit stuck with that pipe. Oh, I didn't know what improvement we'd had on the power. I guess let's do a little bit of a restock, and then we'll call it for today. What would I need? I don't actually remember what was in there. Maybe the labs and stuff, maybe? Don't know. But train is full, basically, but not with pipe. In fact, why don't we put pipe in that slot? See how many we've got there. Okay. Hello. Put the ammo back. Got capsules. Got. What I was going to put in was the fluid wagons. So let's go and have a quick. In fact, let's do it backwards, and then hopefully pipes will be restocked to a degree when we get back. So we want some more modules, some more speedy modules. Picked them up already. We're not doing concrete yet. I've run down to the wrong end. So solar panels I haven't got any more of. Have I used? I haven't used any of them. Cool. But a few labs with not this. Don't think we need as many foundries. Not foundries. Chemical things. I'm going to take that one because we have one gap on the other one. Trains. Okay. And then signals. We are not quite full of signals. Cool. Right, just top that off. Car poles. Excellent. What about turrets here? Couple of turrets. Lights, plenty of, please, yes. Boxes. What about surges? Need loads of them. Okay, splitters. That's undies. Guess ammo. What about grenades? I used a load of them, didn't I? No, I'm full. Okay, I clearly didn't. Alright, let's go with whatever pipe we've got. Anything else we'll take? I guess iron plate. Do a grab and run now. A bit more, please. Nice. Okay. I think that's it then. Yeah. I mean, we're kind of in a position where when I get, when I do return, oops, I'm missing a bit of rail there. That's annoying. When we do return, I think I'm going to put a tag on, basically, to remind me. So, finish off oil, then red circuits, and blue science. We will then have, put that tag there. So once that's up and running, we're then almost back to where we were. So we had everything up to blue science running, and so the next phase will obviously be moving on to either purple or yellow. I need to decide which one. I would also like to set up uranium processing. If I can type. Down here. But obviously we need the acid then to do that, which is what we're kind of setting up. Because I do want to use nuclear. I mean, nuclear is a bit irrelevant, actually, in terms of just launching a rocket, but it's always fun to smash some atoms apart. Oh, we got plenty of power anyway, so we're okay. And yes, then we're into yellow science, purple science, and rocket launch, which is why I'm saying that, or I knew it would always fit into the period where, between when I started it and when Space Age comes out, but it could be a bit closer than I was anticipating. We will return, or I will return rather, in essentially 3 weeks. So the next 2 weeks, as per the schedule, note there, I will be on holiday. So I will not be streaming next week or the week after. As I've mentioned, the VODs for this series will go live over my holiday. So when I go, every other day, there will be one of the VODs for this series going live on my YouTube channel. The SpaceX ones will also go up as well in their sort of usual Tuesday, Thursday as it's become. And they will obviously last for a while as well, because that's quite far behind now that in terms of the VODs. But the basic point is when I return from holiday, I'm pretty sure, I've not done, as I say, purple science, yellow science. We're nowhere near a rocket. So that's quite a lot of stuff to do. Plus, as I say, I want to do nuclear power. So we've quite a lot of stuff there to do. And we will have, what will it be then? It'll be 5 weekends, will it? So that's 10 more streams, so another 30 hours. So it's entirely doable. But it could be that it fits exactly into that gap. So the basic point, what I'm getting at, is that when we come back, I think I'm just going to be streaming this series on both the Saturday and Sunday. And if I get it finished ahead of time, which is to say I launch a rocket and we get space science up and running, then I will continue on the SpaceX series. I think I might stream something else. I might say, right, well, because that, it'll be like 6 weeks between me playing SpaceX from yesterday and whenever I do it. So am I going to remember what's going on? Or should I maybe do a Satisfactory stream or something? It was not my intention to do any of, the other factory games releasing, but we could end up with a weekend or something where I'm just filling a gap. The other possibility is I just don't stream. It would be nice to have a bit of a break before, literally the week before space age launches, and I end up doing loads and loads of streaming. So yeah, there's all sorts of options. But what I'm basically saying, holiday for 2 weeks, then we come back, and it will almost certainly be the version 1 farewell series all the time. Dear God, you return 1 month from release. It's a sign. Something like that, yeah. Is it a month? Yeah, it's not far off. I said it's not that. It really is very close now. In terms of VODs, as I say, I mentioned the VODs for this series will be going out over my holiday, but also that YouTube channel, my YouTube channel link there. If you are new here, if you've not seen any of these, I tend to think nowadays it's the other way around, that people are joining the Twitch to hear me prattle on about speculations and stuff, and they're probably coming here from the YouTube. But if you don't know about that one, my YouTube channel has VODs for all the streams I've done, and there are loads of Factorio series, Mega Base and No Spoon Run, and what else have I done? Angels, Bobs, Crashtorio 2 playthroughs, SpaceX, which is the one I'm saying I might end up dropping, but then also Tectonica, Satisfactory, and several Dyson Sphere programs. So there's loads of content there for you to have on in the background or watch actively if you want. But also what I do, every week I do a deep dive, analysis, speculation of the Friday Facts. That comes out, usually goes live on the Saturday if I can make it. It's like 24 hours after launch. And I tend to go the opposite way to a lot of YouTubers. So a lot of YouTubers do a summary and maybe talk about a couple of ideas, and I go the other way and I read through the full thing. I try and explain things that I think I can explain in a bit more detail or add a bit more colour, and I get lost on tangents about, concentric circles and all sorts of stuff that I go on about. But then also at the end, I do a great big speculation about what does this mean? What could this mean for the game? What else might we get? What hints are there, and what Easter eggs and all that sort of stuff? And they're an enormous amount of fun to do, and people do seem to enjoy them. So if you're new here and that sounds like something you might enjoy, then do check out my YouTube channel. The other thing you could do, with me being away, is follow me on Twitter. I don't post a lot, but I will post if there's any changes to stream schedules or any of that sort of stuff. So that's all my promos done. This is like being 5 years old again before Christmas. That's a very good analogy, actually. All I want for Christmas is this expansion. Been waiting almost 4 years now. Yeah. Well, I'm sure Covrix will deliver you a nice Christmas present. I can't wait for Christmas, actually. I'm probably not going to do any content stuff and just play, just sit down and just disappear into Factorio for a solid week and a half, basically. Unfortunately, that my family seems to demand that I go and see them over Christmas, so that puts a little crimp in the plan. But yeah. Okay, so yes, that's it. As I say, I hope you have a good couple of weeks, and I will be back on the 21st of September, as it says. If you have been watching, I hope you've enjoyed it, and you might consider coming back for another one. I've been Trismegistus. This has been Factorio. Thanks for watching. Cheers.